Well, at times like this, I feel like an absolute kid in a sweet shop, absolutely surrounded by different smells, different pots of glugs and all sorts of things, so I can get my hands on and try them out. And today I'm looking at the bait ranges from Shimano. We've got the Isolate, which I've done a bit on before when I met with Mark Holmes on an in session. A bit of a Willy Wonka of the bait trade. He knows exactly what he's put in, a bit of a wizard with all his baits. He knows so much what he's talking about. A lot of it went over my head, but believe me, a lot of his input and knowledge goes into these baits. So these are the ones that I'm going to get Neil to talk a bit more about in a second, and the TX1s, because there's different types of baits for different situations. The Isolate range is much more of your food source, something that's going to keep coming back, a lot more nutrition for them, and it's going to more of a campaign sort of bait, so you're going to be using this for a long time on one water, whereas the TX1s, as you can probably see from all the colours, much more in your face, higher attract, really smelly ones. So for example, we've got strawberry, tiger nut, banana and pineapple, all the glugs and matching food syrups, really high attract, much more likely to get you an initial bite, and but maybe not going to be one you'd use for a longer campaign. So shorter sessions, much more likely to get a bite quickly, longer sessions wanting the carp to keep coming back. But I'm going to get Neil to talk a bit more about these, sort of way he approaches his sessions and some of the bait mixes he uses, because he's currently fishing at the moment on at Linear. So we'll go over to see him and see what he's doing.
As Joe kindly touched on, we have a vast bait range now. The two ranges in the Tribal stable are the TX1 range, which is your high attractant bait, and in the Isolate range we have the LM94 and the RN20, which is a highly digestible bait and a high nutritional bait for the carp. So what I'll do, I'll just touch on the TX1 range to start with. So as I mentioned, and very important, is the TX1 range is high attractant, so it's ideal for your short sessions. Short weekend angling is just, this is the one to go to. It's high vis as well, and as I said, keep this in mind, high attractant bait. So the range itself, we have the banana and pineapple, which is one of my favourite. Although from the catch reports, the strawberry, which is almost a forgotten flavour in the bait world, is probably one of the most productive we have in the TX1 range, so please give that a go. Within the range we have all the matching glugs, all the matching pop-ups, and we have the food syrup. The difference between the hook bait glug and the food syrup is basically what it says on the tin. Me personally, this is the liquid that I pour all over my boilies. It's a little bit watered down in comparison to that, because this is a thicker, more of a concentrate liquid, so I prefer to have this on my hook baits. I'm quite simple when it comes to preparing bait. I'm not really a particle fan because it can clog up the spod, so the type of fishing I'm doing at the moment is quite short. What I mean by that, trade shows, doing sessions like this, it's rare I get the rods out, so when I do, I need to be quick and get them a bait out. So my bait prep is simple. I use the boilies straight out the bag. I use the matching liquid. As I said, this is the food syrup, which I prefer to put on my freebies. And there's no right or wrong way of actually putting the liquid onto your bait. Some people put a little bit in with a touch of lake water as well. Me personally, I put loads of it in. I love to absolutely bathe my boilies in liquid. So once you've chosen your favourite in the range, as I said, mine is the pineapple and banana, we've got the hook bait glug. So this is how I fish it. I choose my favourite pop-up rig. In fairness, I would normally leave that in there for a few minutes while I sorted other bits out, but it's only been in there for a few seconds. And I tell you what, if I was a carp, I'd be caught every day on that. So the Isolate boilie range comes in the LM94 and the RN20. Now, these baits were made with one thing in mind, and that's carp nutrition. These baits, the history behind it and the actual making to get to this can stem back some 30 years. So the RN stands for red nut. 20 is actually the ingredients are in it. So it's a fine, absolutely phenomenal bait. For example, there's tiger nut in it, there's toasted peanut in it, there's oyster shells in it, crushed toasted soybeans, just to name a few. This is a great bait. So just to show you the ingredients of it, it's quite a soft bait. As I said, it was made with digestibility in mind. So straight out the bag, all the seeds, all the goodness. And if we did smell-o-vision, this would probably be a bit like Nutella. And similar to the TX1 range, we also do the matching pop-ups, we actually do the wafters, and we also do the food syrup and the hook bait glog. The LM94, this is actually my favourite. I was lucky enough to see this right through the testing stages, right up to now when it's released for you guys. My confidence in this bait is absolutely sky high. So the LM stands for Liver Marine. The 94 is actually from the LT94 fish meal, which is one of the highest grade fish meals you can get. So again, nutrition in mind, just to name a few ingredients in this, you've got egg powder, spice mix, bird food seeds, liver powder, and the fact that it says marine, naturally you can decide that there's krill in there, a few other little bits as well, which make this bait my go-to bait. As I said earlier, for me, the type of fishing I'm doing at the moment needs to be quick and simple. So for me, a lot of the time, prior to doing it, because these are resealable bags, I'll actually prep this a couple of days before I go. So again, the food syrup, poured into the bag, and as I mentioned, I'm a huge fan of liquids. So that would probably do me maybe 5 or 6 kilos. I like it bathed in it. So I said, with the resealable bag, I can close it up, prep my bait for a few days prior, and then it's ready to go as soon as I get on the bank.
Well, as Neil was currently getting his rods out, I thought I'd take the comforts of his chair and finish things off, because all of these baits today, it's worth noting, are shelf life currently. But if you don't like using shelf life, not that there's any issue with them, because these are some of the best baits I've seen shelf life wise in a very long time. The amount of ingredients alone in these baits here, as you crumb them up, I mean, that's soft from a shelf life as well. You're not going to get much better than that, even with a freezer bait, and it's still so fresh. It really is a very impressive bait, but it is all shelf life. There is going to be freezer baits coming in the future, so if you want to use that, you can do. But all these baits have been used this week. Shimano have actually been here fishing the team, so as you can see some of the catches they've had, some lovely fish. And even whilst I've been here today, next door, a lovely zip linear was caught as well on the 94, the LM94. So testament to how much these baits are doing, both in the testing and currently, and anything Shimano, top quality stuff from rods and reels and now bait. And as he's still busy, I think I'm going to nip off with some pineapple.